이번에는 프롬부터 투워드까지 모두 세 번째 파일 중 두 번째 전치사 예문군입니다. 여러분 출발하겠습니다.
He works from home. Interests accrue from loan. He withdrew from politics. Dew dripped from the tree. She recovered from his cold. I've been suffering from jet lag. Fear always springs from ignorance. Don't digress from the mainstream. I'm borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. Steam billowed from under the bonnet. He differs from me in his basic manner. His illness stemmed from a car accident. The butterflies flitter from flower to flower. As a vegetarian, I abstain from fish and flesh. The quarrel originated from misunderstanding. The economy rebounded from a long recession. Do your homework, or you'll hear from your father. His ears were ringing from severe scolding. He took. Keep in touch. Get in the line. It runs in the family. Pity stirred in her mind. You should get in shape. My foot caught in the hole. A kite caught in the power cable. The log split in the middle. Fate works in strange waves. A thought rose in his mind. How do I look in this dress? His dream ended in smoke. His house perished in flame. The piston plays in the cylinder. This raincoat comes in all sizes. The party sticks in my memory. The path rises in a gentle curve. I room in a dormitory at college. The flight originates in New York. This rule doesn't apply in this case. Paul swam in the 100-meter freestyle. At night, danger lurks in these streets. These kinds of things happen in series. Trees and flowers bud in the springtime. Fall pervaded in merely a couple of days. Black athletes start in many professional sports. More than 10 million people pack in this small land. The leader of the orchestra bowed in a pompous manner. Jealousy inheres in love. He majors in economics. He specializes in dermatology. He believes in Christianity. A fishbone stuck in my throat. 30% replied in the affirmative. Musical talent runs in her family. He often slips in English grammar. English abounds in idioms. Happiness consists in contentment. The blue vein showed in his forehead. His campaign strategy is still in embryo. He always behaves in a self-centered way. It will cost in the region of $300 to fix it. All the evidence makes in the same direction. A bench stood in the shade of the apple tree. We increase in age, but not always in wisdom. I'm backpacking in Spain and Portugal, and will return home in about 2 weeks. A few people succeed in their efforts to stop smoking. Student must persist in their efforts if they wish to do well. Have you all you guys turned in your homework assignment? Whenever anything good happens in my life, I'm just afraid I'm gonna lose it. The manufacturing economy contracted in October for the 6th consecutive months. Research opportunities exist in a wide range of pure and applied areas of entomology. His work as a consultant consisted in advising foreign companies on the siting of new factories. The quality of education a student gets on a college lies in the performance of the student rather than in the prestige of the school. Acid bit into metals. The traffic light turned to reed. Water turned into ice. I ran into Smith earlier. Don't get into trouble. This has grown into a troublesome situation. They piled into the car. It fell into enemy's hand. Dust deepened into night. The ball rolled into the pond. The door opens into the kitchen. Caterpillar turned into butterflies. A caterpillar transferred itself into a butterfly. She grew into her mother's dress. The students packed into the gym. The Han River falls into the Yellow Sea. The dazzling light pierced into his eyes. Her influenza developed into pneumonia. A thought popped into his mind. The students packed into the gym. He slipped into the room. The breakwater projects into the sea. A thought popped into his mind. Paul's recently got into the habit of cracking his knuckles. Many American English have percolated into British English. He happened into the classroom when we're talking about him. The children of the immigrants assimilated quickly into an alien culture. In answer to reporters' questions, John said they are looking into the cases. One promising startup company passed into the hands of the corporate hunters. It looks like rain. That's just like him. I feel like resting. What's your job like? I feel like a wet rag. I feel like a sardine. It sounds like a desk plan. The rumor sped like wildfire. I slept like a rock today. I swim like a rock. It feels like how love should be. He tried to look like somebody's. It feels like a needle poking me. She trembled like an aspen leaf. They look like rats deserting the sinking ship. His aftershave smelt like an explosion in a flower shop. He died of leukemia. He died from bullet wounds. I'm dying of thirst. He nearly died of laughing. I'm dying for a smoke. I'm dying to see you. Have you ever heard of the new boss? I was disappointed to hear of his failure. The committee consists of 5 members. 3/4 of the traffic on the network consists of emails. Most cars are composed of more than 25,000 components. 25,000 components comprise a car. She couldn't think of any reason for not going. Let's think of the Chernobyl disaster, which irradiated large part of Europe. He can play almost any instrument that you can think of, and moreover several that you can't. My father did not approve of public displays of affection, emotion, or anger. I approve of his choice. Christian ethics disapproves of suicide. I suspect of her lying. He never doubts of victory. No one doubted his ability. The dish tastes of garlic. The school laboratory reeked of ammonia. The document smells of friggery. The railway carriage smelt of beer and old socks. Nothing remains of old school. When did you learn of his death? That disposes of your point. How will you dispose of these trashes? It permits of no delay. This space allows of a billiard room to be included. She brags of his rich father. His attitude partakes of disrespect. She complained of not having enough to do. I don't know well what to make of his last remarks. I became convinced of the need for cheap editions of good quality English study book. The cup fell off the table onto the rug. The second button is coming off your coat. He fell on his head. He fell on his back. He fell on his knees. He fell on his buttocks. He lies on his back. He lies on his face. He walked on tiptoe. He walked on the tips of his toes. He walked a tiptoe. My dog can stand on her hind legs. He stood on his hands. Life turns on a dime. He acted on impulse. The wheel turns on its axis. A girl scraped on a violin. A smile played on her lips. The sun plays on the water. London stands on the Thames. A vase sits on the table. The bridge rests on 4 pillars. The hotel stands on a high hill, so it commands an excellent view. The dishes crashed on the floor. A bird perches on the twig. Fortune smiled on us then. You can count on me. He drew on his gloves. He puts on his gloves. Stay on a diet, will you? Let's stay on a diet, shall we? Aspirin acts on the heart. The pill worked on me quickly. Tigers prey on living animals. If I go to Africa, I'll go on safari. He went on a picnic. How often do you go on a vacation? He puts on an air of innocence. The policeman drew on a thief. The policeman pulled a gun on a thief. He depends on writing for a living. Where do you stand on that case? I blew on my hands to warm them. We can't live on such mean wages. Our plan got stuck on that problem. Mike and I don't agree on everything. Two parties agreed about what to do. I don't agree with you on that issue. I agree with you that he is wrong. This copy does not agree with the original. I agree to your proposal. He agreed to John's marrying Julie. He agreed to introduce John to Julie. It doesn't get on my nerves anymore. He pounces on my words like a lawyer. The writer's genius lives on every page. I called on him last night. The students sat on either side of them. A poster of Bob Marley hangs on the wall. Reports varied on the extent of the damage. This TV program went on the air 20 years ago. I can't concentrate on my work when I'm hungry. The professor talked on current trends in economics. They have been sitting on my protest letter for 2 weeks. Success depends on what you know, not whom you know. A patient usually listens to the doctor's advice and act on it. Your lies rebound on you. Our acts recoil on ourselves. Would you elaborate on it? One of the pickpockets informed on his partners to the police. I'm sorry, I can't go to the movies with you. What? Are you trying to rain on my parade? Get out of it. Get out of here. You stay out of it. Get out of the way. Keep out of my way. We are out of coffee. Emergency road service. May I help you? Yes, I ran out of gas. He dropped out of sight. He just disappeared. He looked out of the window. His shirt worked out of his trousers. He flunked out of school. He will soon grow out of sucking his thumb. She has grown out of her jackets. He started getting mean, so I got out of there. Hundreds of stalls appeared out of nowhere, filling the road right up to Notting Hill. He fell over a rock. A big cliff hangs over us. He goes nuts over pizza. They chatted over the cigars. He used to do business over lunch. You go over my dead body. Please go over that part again. Let's go over it one more time. You have no authority over me. The canoe glided over the lake. The argument lasted over 10 years. The pebble skipped over the water. A look of fear passed over her face. Leafy branches arched over the road. COVID-19 spread over the whole country. A rainstorm swept over the countryside. A wave of hatred swept over the country. Don't get upset over his thoughtless remarks. They haggled over a small amount of money. We slid over the problem without mentioning it. He pored over the strange events of the preceding evening. They rallied round his standard. We went round the town in search of a hotel. I raked through the old papers. He skipped through the magazine. Through the fog, a ship loomed. The shot echoed through the hills. I motored all through the country. Water percolated through the sand. His shirt was saturated with perspiration. Fever raged through the country. Why do you go through all the troubles? These trousers bind through the hips. We zipped through customs in no time. Her beauty shone through her humble clothes. Body odor penetrated through the building. Our car's light cannot shine through the fog. I looked through the manuscript for misspelling. Get to the point. This song got to me. Good talking to you. They dance to music. The clock points to 10. What happened to him? He goes to school on foot? This relates to your mother. What club do you belong to? His house looks to the south. The coat comes to her ankles. I've been to hell and back again. How do I get to the Plaza Hotel? He applied to a bank for a loan. This key admits to the room. He returned to reading a magazine. The lake lies to the south of the city. The expenses reach to a vast amount. The door crashed to the ground. The underpass leads to the subway station. The team marched to the beat of the band. In the end, it recurred to the matter of cost. Past experiences recurred to their mind. Let's recur to our previous topic. We'll return to this topic in the next chapter. Jack applied to several colleges in the USA. He gladly consented to a request. We all listened to a piano accompaniment. A full moon changes to a waning moon. The needle of a compass points to north. His parents have never been to any foreign countries. He had gone to China. Has it come to that? Why does it come to that? Don't jump to conclusion. The cold really gets to me. The car screeched to a stop. The door will yield to a push. She yields to no one in beauty. He rides to work on a bicycle. He always looks to us for help. The dishes crashed to the floor. The car crashed into the train. The airplane dwindled to a speck. The line AB is at right angles to CD. AB is parallel to CD. This town comes to life after sunset. She worked to the best of her ability. The airplane plummeted to the earth. His bribery case led to his dismissal. She replied to my greeting with a smile. They all agreed to Andy's marrying Julie. I haven't spoken to him for 3 months. We are looking forward to seeing you soon. The service extends to wrapping and delivering. He sticks to the facts and adheres to the principles. A rise in taxes will lead to decrease in consumption. Would you please rush to the mailbox with this letter? He spoke to nobody if he could help it. He pointed to chair, signaling for her to sit. The students resorted to cheating on the test to avoid failure. If you fail in negotiation, the labor union will have to resort to a strike. He knows no one he could resort to for help. While I'm jogging in the morning, I listen to a news podcast on my smartphone. The crowd of the people waiting outside the door in a long queue attests, oh, this young star's popularity. The leopard was crawling toward its prey. His political beliefs tend toward socialism. Artistic and intellectual people tend toward left-wing views. The country is heading toward elections, which may break the ruling party's long hold on power.
여러분, 상당히 많은 양의 전치사를 공부하고 있어 지루하시지요? 빠르게 영어의 대강과 구조를 파악하게 해드리려 하다 보니 아무래도 학습자들이 많이 힘들어하실 수 있겠다 생각이 듭니다. 힘이 들지만 영어를 정복하기 위해 꼭 거쳐야 하는 과정이니 힘내시기 바랍니다. 화이팅!